Hey boyos, incels, faggots, niggas, whatever you are. Just a daily check-in with John V. Haven't done one in a while. Figured it was time. As you can see, I'm starting to look a little better, right? I'm still fat as fuck, right? I still want to lose like 65, 70 pounds, but all things considered, I think I look a lot better than I did when I first started. I'm not a 3 anymore, in my opinion. I'm a 4. So that's a big improvement. There's a bit of a difference between a 3 and a 4. One's just plain ugly, one's just simply unattractive, and I think I'm just unattractive. I don't think I'm ugly, really. I mean, a lot of you guys, especially on the Looks Maxing forum, are automatically gonna say, "Yeah, you're a 3, buddy. You're ugly as fuck." Well, what I can say is a Looks Maxing forum is fucking brutal for ratings for some reason. Even when I was in my prime, I get told, that I was like mid. But yet, out of all my friends and my friend groups I've had, I was probably the best looking one out of all the friends I've ever had when I was in my prime. So there's something wrong there. Maybe I just pick ugly friends. But I don't think that's the case. Like, I had friends that, people would comment on them, tell them they were good looking, and as far as I knew, I was pretty much the best looking one out of my friends group when I was in my prime, right? So, the rating is kind of skewed on the Looks Maxing forum because I'll see people post on there that are not that bad looking, and they get told they're like a 4, and I disagree slightly. I mean, the ratings are pretty consistent with what I would say, but I mean, I don't think I'm a 3. I think I'm a 4. So that's where the inconsistency comes in, is where what I think I am and what the looks maxers think I am. For some reason, they see me as, an ugly old man, and I am an old man, but I'm not. I don't think I'm ugly, just unattractive, right? There's a difference between being ugly and unattractive. Like, I can handle being unattractive. I don't want to be fucking ugly. When I was ugly, at my peak of 265 pounds, I would have people bringing me down in real life. They would like comment on my appearance and try to bring me down all the time about how fat and ugly I was. And that doesn't happen anymore, right? Because now I pretty much blend in with the average crowd, right? Because the average crowd, like 50% of the people are on the same level as me or worse. So I just blend in, right? I don't want to blend in, but blending in is better than standing out in a bad way and being really ugly, right? And I still have a long way to go. It's going to take a while for me to reach my goal of 160 pounds, but I will get there in time. It's like if I can get there in a year and a half, I'll be happy. But it's kind of up and down my weight loss journey because I'll diet consistently for a while and then stop for a while. Because obviously, the best diet is the one you can commit to. And I'm not a hardcore bodybuilder, like professional bodybuilder shooting up steroids. I cannot have my life based around dieting and lifting. I just can't. I've tried that lifestyle before when I was in my prime, and I can't commit to it. I can't commit to it. I can't really commit to anything positive, to be honest with you. Uh, that might be just me, but most of the people I know in real life don't do much with their life. Like, I know people that are managers at a workplace making hardly any money, hardly more than minimum wage, and on their days off, they sleep until noon. Like, that's the typical people around here that are successful. They're a manager at a store, like, not store manager, obviously, because a store manager is quite a bit higher up than just a manager of like a department. But a manager of a department or something, on their days off, they're sleeping until noon. Like, they have nothing exciting going on in their life. Their life basically revolves around work. So, like boyos on the misc, they all claim to be making 6 figures a year and slaying HBBs and all that. And I don't fucking believe it, right? I'm the most real one on there. I post everything about my life. And I'm completely real with everybody I speak with online. I don't hide anything. I don't falsify any information about my life. And I think that 95% of the people I converse with on the MISC, especially, are frauding. They're not real at all. Because where I live, around here, I know literally one person personally that is making roughly 100K a year. That's it. That's all I know. Everybody else, the majority of them are scraping bottom. Literally 85% of the people I know are scraping bottom or on welfare. The other 15% are making a fair bit more than minimum wage or substantially more. So 1 in 6 people are actually making a good living that I know around here. So it doesn't really add up why Boyo is on the MISC, why 95% of them are making 100K a year or more, whereas the other ones are making, substantially less than that. It doesn't add up. It's quite the opposite, I think. But when you're online, you can be anything what you want to fucking be. You know, I'm a beta male. I'm not an alpha male. In some ways, I'm an alpha male, but I'm primarily a beta male. And I don't falsify things about my life. I'm honest. I'm loyal. I'm reliable. I'm agreeable. You know, I'm accountable. I'm dependable. I don't falsify things. I'm a beta male, right? I'm an actual beta male. And that's not a bad thing because when you say alpha or beta on an online forum, people interpret it as black and white, good or bad, and alpha being good and beta being bad. And it's not that simple. It's not that simple at all. Beta is essentially like getting a B on a test, alpha is like getting an A. That's what it's like. Because you have all the other male archetypes like gamma male, delta male, omega male, and they are essentially worse than a beta male. Beta male is basically the alpha male's right hand man. So, those tests, when I take them, they always say I'm a beta male. Primarily a beta male, like 80 to 90% beta male. And a second to beta, I'm delta. I don't like being a delta, but I'm primarily beta, like I said. But delta is the majority of the population, like 65% of the population is delta. They form the majority of the workforce. The good thing about deltas are they really know their place in society. They're really familiar with their role. They make the best boss. They make the best parents because they're really familiar with their role and their role in society. And but aside from that, nobody wants to be a delta because you're basically just going through the motions of daily living, right? And as the majority of the workforce. And but that's my secondary archetype. My primary one is beta. So beta is basically an alpha male in training. That's it. They're second in command. They're the right hand man of the alpha male, right? So when I call myself a beta male, I'm not saying I'm a fucking loser, that I'm a fucking loser or anything like that. I'm just saying that I'm second in command, basically, right? And you boys can all say, well, I'm first in command, so you're the only one second. And that's a bunch of bullshit because 95% of you on the MISC or any other online forum, you're not alpha. You're not. 95% of you, you're not. The majority of you are deltas. But I know a lot of you faggots don't even work, so you can't be considered a delta if you're not part of the workforce, right? So a lot of you guys aren't even delta, but I'm talking shit and I don't even work, but yet I'm secondary a delta. But it's like working age citizens, basically, as the delta is. Working age citizens, not necessarily just the workforce. But beta is kind of like the hero that needs to rise up, whereas alpha is the hero. Sigma, everybody wants to be the sigma, right? That's what these young kids say nowadays is about the sigma, because sigma is like getting an A plus on a test, alpha is like getting an A, beta is like getting a B, and everybody wants to be the sigma. but sigmas are so rare, very, very, very rare, and a lot of people, they'll take a couple traits of the sigma, and because they have those traits, say that they're a sigma male, and one of those traits is being a true loner, not really associating with a group or having anything to do with the hierarchy. And a lot of people, when they say they're a sigma, they're actually an omega, and omega is at the bottom. They hold a similarity with sigma because they don't associate with the hierarchy. They're not part of the hierarchy, just like a sigma male. And people hear that, they automatically assume they're sigma because they're a loner, they don't have friends, and they don't care about any hierarchy. So they say, yeah, I'm a sigma, but they're not. They're an omega, and omega is at the bottom. An omega is essentially the worst one to be, even though an omega does still have positive traits, right? Omegas tend to be very intelligent, just like gamma males. But for the longest time, I thought that I was an omega, but I don't think I am, because I remember back years ago in high school when me and my friends, we all played the nerdy card game Magic the Gathering, and I was essentially leader of the group. We had like 12 of us, and I was basically the leader. I was the one holding it all together. When I dropped out of school in grade 10, the group fell apart because I was the one that always says, "You gotta play Magic at lunchtime, or you're gonna play Magic at lunchtime. What else are you gonna do? Might as well play Magic." I kept the group together, and I've had some of my friends in that group say that they themselves were the leader of the group. Well, they weren't. I was, and in that group, maybe there were some alphas, but I was the one that held the group together. Part of it was my age. I was a little bit older than everybody else in the group because I had failed grade 6. And there was only one other person in that group that was close to my age, that was right close to my age. The rest were all roughly a year younger than me. So part of the reason why I was leader of the group was because I was older than everybody else in the group. But for that reason, because I played nerdy card games, or used to play nerdy card games, I thought I was an omega male, but I'm not. I'm a beta male, and I gave it a lot of thought, and I have a lot of similarities with beta, right? Like, because I'm honest, loyal, reliable, agreeable, dependable, accountable. You know, that's me. That's who I am. And I'm ideal for a long term relationship with a woman. And that's the thing about women. Um, I'm not overly successful with women and never was, even in my prime. But occasionally, an average looking woman would throw themselves at me and confess their love to me and want to be with me for the rest of their life. And it's not because I was an alpha male, it's because I was a beta male. They had me pegged as a beta male because I showed so many beta male traits. And primarily, that's not what people want in a partner. They want someone who's alpha, someone who's going to take the lead, give direction, and show leadership skills, right? Someone who's funny, fun, and exciting. And beta males primarily are not. But the thing about beta males is, like I said, they're honest, loyal, reliable, agreeable, accountable, dependable. They're ideal for a relationship because of those things. And you know, when a girl or a woman, they've been with a few guys and got fucked around, got played by the alpha male, they want a beta male. They want somebody that they can actually rely on, that's not going to cheat on them or use them, and that's somebody like me. So they peg me as a beta male and they throw themselves at me. That doesn't happen with every woman, of course. It didn't in the past, but in the past, occasionally, that's what would happen. An average looking woman, someone that was worse looking than I used to be by a little bit, would throw themselves at me, confess their love to me, and want to be with me for the rest of their life. And, so being a beta male isn't all bad. And it's not as simple as black or white like the MISC would like to think, or other forums online, right? Because as soon as I start telling um, boys on the forums that I'm a beta male, they think I'm putting myself down. And I don't see it that way. I see it, being a beta male, as a great thing. It's awesome. It's like saying that I'm a manager of my own department at a store, right? I'm not the store manager because that would be like the Sigma or the Alpha, but I'm a department manager. I manage my own department in a store, right? It's not a bad thing at all. I'm not, a bottom dweller. That would be like the Omega male, right? But here I am rambling a bit, just trying to fill up air, making myself thirsty. Got the old monster. What flavor is that? Strawberry something? Strawberry Dreams. It's okay. It's better than the peach. The peach actually tastes like shit. And I know a guy, he was saying the peach, oh, the peach is really good. It tastes just like the peach candy. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't taste nothing like the fucking fuzzy peach candy. I don't know what crack you're smoking. But, can't, I don't know. I try not to worry about things that don't make any sense anymore. In my younger days, I would, but now I'm getting to the point where I don't want to deal with BS from people and shit like that. It's just let it go if it's not important. But but yeah, I'm a beta male, and that's actually my biggest selling point for getting a partner. And I will be in good shape again. It's just gonna take some time. Like yesterday, I ate a little bit too much. I had 8 pieces of fried chicken. 8 pieces of fried chicken, right? And I had some honeydew melon, just like a handful. And I also had 2 small bowls of pasta and a handful of potato chips. And overall, that was I probably ate maintenance calories that day yesterday. But today, I'm actually down pretty good. I've only had 2 small burgers from Wendy's and a handful of potato chips and 2 small oranges and an iced coffee. So I am under for the day today. And I plan on not eating anything else today, so to keep me under. I originally intended not to eat anything at all today, but it's so fucking difficult doing that because once I get food in my head, it's like an addiction. It's like smoking, and it consumes my thoughts, and I can't get rid of it. And then time feels like an eternity because you get the thought in your head of food when you're not hungry, but you have that food addiction making you believe you're hungry when you're not. And you get the idea of food in your head, and 5 minutes will pass, and it feels like an hour because you've got this nagging addiction bothering you, and to make it go away, you have to eat something. And unfortunately, like, if you keep eating, you're not going to lose weight, right? But I see it for what it is, and it's an addiction. It's an addiction to food, just like smoking is an addiction. But I'm not worried about smoking. Um, I think the whole thing about smoking being bad for your health, like Goba was saying, I want to give a shout out to Goba. Actually, he's not one of my boyos, but you know, I seen him post that about smoking and how smoking is actually not bad for your health, and I believe it, right? And it's funny because if smoking was so bad, then nobody would smoke because it would be ostracized. But fucking so many people smoke, and I have so many health problems, and I'm much healthier than I was when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, I was not a fat fuck. I was very, very, very thin. Very fucking thin. And I was always ill. Always. With asthma and shit like that, and chest infection, pneumonia, whatever, all the fucking time. And now I still do get sick, but I'm much, much healthier than when I was a fucking kid. And I smoke 2 packs of fucking cigarettes a day. And I don't think smoking is that bad at all. I really don't. Um, you could say that's cope, and I don't give a fuck what you want to say, but it's not cope because I don't think cigarettes are that bad for you, right? Um, it's the same as like alcohol. People would put down alcohol and say that, it's going to kill your liver and shit. But yet I've known alcoholics who were alcoholics for 30 years of their life and would drink eight beer every day. And, you know, they seem to be the picture of good health pretty much. I've literally known alcoholics like that. And Because the thing is, when you have when you introduce like a foreign substance to your body, like alcohol, something that you're not that you don't really need, your your health markers will change. They'll get worse. But if you keep introducing that foreign substance that your body doesn't need into your body, your health markers begin to improve over time and start to level off, right? It's the same with the Super Size Me video when I seen that. Like, initially, buddy, he gained a whole ton of weight eating McDonald's 3 times a day, and his health markers went wild, like his cholesterol and all this shit. But then they told him that they were starting to regulate after so many months. But by then the damage had been done, and he had gained like 40 pounds. So he was a fat fuck. And if he kept going the way he was going, he was just going to get fatter and fatter, even though his, health markers would level off and regulate. Um, I'm not saying that smoking is necessarily a good thing, but I don't think it's that bad of a thing, really. Like, obviously, you take a non-smoker and you have them smoke a cigarette, they're not going to make it through the whole cigarette. They're going to take one puff and start coughing and gag and choke on a fucking lung, right? I smoke a cigarette, I might not cough at all, right? It, it's the same concept. It's basically, once you adapt to something, it's not harmful in the way you expect. And it's funny how I always heard about these non smokers dying to secondhand smoke. I've heard more about non smokers dying to secondhand smoke than I have from actual smokers dying from cigarettes. So there's something there, right? And I think it's because the smokers are adapted to the cigarette smoke, non smokers are not. So I don't know. I'm not saying smoking's a good thing, and I'm not telling anybody to smoke, especially not you young people on the Looks Maxing forum. But you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And I remember when I was 16 years old, I wanted to be a rebel and do things that were bad, like you bad kids. But you know, when you're 16, you're pretty much old enough. You can make all your decisions, right? You just can't purchase alcohol or cigarettes. But most police officers don't really give a fuck if some 16-year-old kid is smoking. It's not something that they're keeping their eye on. They're worried more about more severe crimes, like somebody fucking hoarding crack in their house and selling it and burying the money in their backyard, shit like that. That's more what they're concerned about than like a 16-year-old kid smoking. Because I've never heard of police busting like a 16-year-old kid for smoking. Ever. Never. I used to buy cigarettes. I shouldn't be saying this on video actually, but when I was younger, I would do things that were questionable, and the people involved, the younger people, they would never have any kind of legal repercussions because of it, and I didn't either. But when you take somebody that's barely a fucking hardly a grown ass man, they're still basically a kid themselves, like 20 years old. Like, I never hear about 20-year-old kids being thrown in jail for some heinous crime. I never hear about it. It's always the older people that are like 35, 40, 50 years old that are getting thrown in prison. I don't hear about these young people that are like 20 years old getting thrown in prison unless it's a really severe crime. But I don't really keep up on crime and stuff like that, so I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. The video's probably gone on long enough, and I need to have a smoke. So I typically don't make smoking videos that are this long because it's a pain in the ass to try to upload the video from my phone to my PC and then onto YouTube. Whereas when I do a video like this from my webcam with a headset on, it's a lot easier. It's not a complicated process. But yeah, boyos, I'll see you on the MISC. And if you watch this whole video, I appreciate it.